Welcome to my presentation on Lab 4, your second hack part 1. In this lab, we aim to assess vulnerabilities using tools like NIC2, OAuth, ZAP, and Nessus, apply the Flaw hypothesis methodology, and explore mitigation strategies. The focus is on identifying weaknesses, securing systems, and adhering to ethical and legal guidelines for responsible cybersecurity practices. The NIC2 scan was executed using the command nic2h host. The scan quickly identified several vulnerabilities, including the outdated Apache version, highlighted in green. Using outdated software versions like Apache introduces unpatched vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit to gain unauthorized access or disrupt services. This possesses significant security risks, especially if these vulnerabilities are already well documented. To mitigate this, the recommended action is upgrading the latest version of Apache and ensuring all security patches and updates are applied. Keeping software current is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to reduce the attack surface. The following vulnerabilities were identified after running the OWASP scan. CSP header missing. The lack of a content security policy header leaves the site exposed to cross-site scripting and injection attacks, as it fails to define permitted sources for dynamic resources. Impact. This vulnerability heightens the risk of user data breaches, session hijacking, and application integrity compromised due to the execution of malicious scripts. Mitigation. Implement a strict CSP using the content security policy header defining authorized sources for scripts, styles, and images. Regularly update the policy to align with application changes and emerging threats. NIC2 is a web server scanner that focuses on identifying server-side vulnerabilities. It checks for issues like outdated server versions, misconfigurations, and potentially dangerous files. Its main strength is its ability to perform quick scans, and it is easily scriptable, making it ideal for automated tasks. However, NIC2 is limited in scope as it primarily addresses server vulnerabilities and does not cover complex web application vulnerabilities. OAuth ZAP, on the other hand, is a comprehensive web application security scanner designed to identify application level vulnerabilities such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and other advanced web application security flaws. ZAP is user-friendly with a graphical interface, making it accessible for both manual and automated testing. While it provides a more in-depth analysis of web application, its scans tend to be slower due to the detailed nature of the testing. Cross-site request forgery and cross-site scripting are prevalent attack types, each exploiting different weaknesses. CSRF relies on user trust and exploits authenticated sessions by tricking users into executing unintended actions, such as transferring funds. XSS, on the other hand, injects malicious scripts that execute in the browser, stealing sensitive information like cookies or sessions tokens. Both attacks highlight the importance of robust input validation and the implementation of anti-CSRF tokens in content security policies. We ran a Nessus scan and identified vulnerabilities in the same ports were open as identified in the NIC2 and OAuth scans. Assessment reveals several vulnerabilities. Clickjacking tricks users into performing unintended actions, risking account compromise or data exposure. Inadequate encryption, weak or missing encryption leaves sensitive data vulnerable to interception and misuse. SQL injection, malicious queries target databases, potentially exposing or altering sensitive data. Cross-site scripting, injected scripts can hijack sessions, alter content, or redirect users to malicious sites. Cross-site request forgery, forces users to perform unauthorized actions in authenticated sessions. CSP header not set. The absence of a CSP header increases susceptibility to XSS injection attacks. Outdated Apache versions. Running outdated software exposes the system to unpatched vulnerabilities. Accessible server manual exposes several details that attackers can use. Access should be restricted. No robots. allows unrestricted crawling, potentially exposing sensitive directories or files. No site map reflects potential gaps in web security practice and site maturity. The flaw hypothesis methodology is a proactive approach to identifying security weaknesses. It begins with analyzing system characteristics to hypothesize possible vulnerabilities. For an example, if a system uses an outdated SQL database, one might hypothesize its susceptibility to SQL injection. Testing these hypotheses validates the assumptions and helps uncover hidden flaws. This methodology ensures a systematic and thorough exploration of potential threats. Mitigating vulnerabilities requires a multi-pronged approach that includes regular updates and patches to close known security gaps, strict access controls to limit exposure to sensitive systems, and encryption to protect data even if intercepted. Continuous training helps stakeholders recognize emerging threats while these strategies work together to create a resilient security posture that minimizes the attacks surface and enhances incident response capabilities. This slide highlights the strengths of the tools used. NIC2 quickly scans for server misconfigurations and outdated software, while OIZAP provides detailed insights into application level vulnerabilities, especially the XSS and CSRF. Nexus offers comprehensive network level scans detecting weak configurations and missing patches. Each tool complements the others, ensuring a holistic approach to vulnerability management. To trace the root cause, OWASP and NIC2 data can be used to identify issues like unsensitive inputs leading to XSS or mishandled sessions, tokens causing CSRF. Additionally, investigating system configurations and software versions flagged by Nessus helps trace the chains of vulnerabilities, providing a thorough analysis. Vectors like cross-site scripting and cross-site reference forgery exploit weaknesses in the input validation and session management. Cross-site scripting is particularly dangerous because it allows attackers to execute scripts on behalf of users, leading to data theft or unauthorized actions. Cross-site reference forgery, meanwhile, manipulates authenticated users into performing unintended actions. Addressing these vulnerabilities requires measures like proper input, sanitation, anti-cross site reference forgery tokens, and strict session handling protocols. Ethical and legal considerations are critical in cybersecurity. Unauthorized testing or disclosure of vulnerabilities can lead to several legal consequences. Industry standards like ISO IEC 29147 provide guidelines for responsible disclosure, ensuring effective organizations have time to address vulnerabilities before they are made public. Responsible practices not only build trust but also promote a collaborative approach to improving security. Let's analyze the outdated Apache web server vulnerability. The hypothesis here is that infrequent updates or compatibility concerns led to this oversight. Such vulnerabilities often arise due to neglect in maintenance policies or a lack of awareness. Among system administrators, addressing these issues requires a structured patch management process and better prioritization of security and system upkeep.